The Australian people are asking themselves, why has my life become so much harder under this government? And it's a fair question to ask. Now, the answer is because the government has spent 3 years doing two things: designing policies and laws which support the benefactors, the mates, the chums of the government, their fellow travellers, and secondly, they have spent the last part of this term working out how they can funnel cash to their favourite friends through an elaborate set of laws, principally known as the Future Made in Australia, but not exclusive to that point. Now, the first part of this term saw particularly Minister Jones working out how he could work with the Industrial Relations Minister to design policies and schemes that will support the union movement but also the super funds. And so we've seen pattern bargaining, we've seen same job, same pay, we've seen the abolition, the death of casual working in this country, because this is all designed to institute a scheme where the unions can clip the ticket. They can clip the ticket through more subscriptions to pay the union bosses because they hate small business. They always have. It's in their DNA, hating small business. And so they've spent the bulk of the time working out how they can lock in laws which kill small business, but laws that pay off the people that run their internal elections, that turn up on polling day, that fund their campaigns. That has been the focus of this government. As I say, pattern bargaining, the end of small business, same job, same pay, that's in the industrial relations space. Then you have the superannuation space. More and more money to the super funds, and then a deathly silence about scandals. Now, we see today that the Treasurer, Dr Chalmers, has decided that he would actually agree with the clerk of the Senate's advice that he must comply with the Senate's orders to provide documents pertaining to the Cbus super fund. Now, Dr Chalmers has been a bit reticent here to engage with the Senate's orders. Maybe that is because his mentor and great friend, Mr Wayne Swan, is the chair of that fund. Maybe it is because Mr Swan is also the president of the Labor Party. These are questions for the ages, which we won't have answers for right now. But I think it's pretty clear that this is more evidence of the government being the government for vested interests. Now, if this was a scandal at a bank or a supermarket, the bank hadn't paid its bills, or the supermarket was in bed with a corrupt organisation, the government would be all over it like a rash. But they are not, because even though Cbus has not paid its insurance claims, even though Cbus has paid millions of dollars to the CFMEU, you hear crickets. Not even a boggon moth. Nothing. But if it was a bank or a supermarket, it's all you'd hear about. So the protection racket is not just about favourable policy for their mates. It's also about a code of silence for those that break our laws. And when the 9 newspapers broke the story about the CFMEU's latest antics, it was like shock horror on the government benches. Who knew? Who knew these guys were bad? I think the Australian people are starting to see it for what it is. The government has had no time to solve the problems of today on inflation and housing because it spends all its time thinking about its mates, its best friends. And that is what the Future Made in Australia is all about. It's another program of largesse, just like the Housing Australia Future Fund, just like the Reconstruction Fund. All these funds support the overall direction of this government, which is a government for vested interests. They have no time to solve the great challenges of today, which is why small business is dying, which is why inflation is out of control, and why housing is unbearable in this country.